Okay, I think that's happening. We're rolling. Right, Monkey? Yeah. Monkey Butt's in it. I'm in it. To win it. Okay, everybody. Welcome. It is Houston. We have a problem time. After dark, baby. So, here we go. Thing's still telling me, like, give everybody a commercial. I just started, dude. I'm not going to give everybody a commercial. YouTube. Chill out. Okay. MMTLP dropped their amended S-1 today. It is basically a prospectus that's like, watch out, we are a company, we might have risks, and then states that they want to go private, and that if they do go private, it's very likely a short squeeze can happen, because if people short the stock, and you cannot have any short shares on a private company. So there'd be lots of forced buying happening when that is the case. And expect a squeeze, I presume. We can. Well, the share price has gone up back to up to $1.80 on the MMTLP shares. People are going, oh, maybe we should start closing positions right now. I don't want them to close positions yet. I want next week's option play for GameStop to work out for me so that I can take that money and get more MMTLP if Fidelity will allow me to do that. I don't know if they will, but my guess is $60 a share is it. I'll sell for $60 a share if I can get it. But I want to be able to have as many as possible. So if I can get, 60 to 1 or 30 to 1 returns on those MMTLP shares, I'm going to gather as many as I can. Hopefully, GameStop does some stuff and I can get some cash from the options on that. And we can play. Because, with $60 a share, all you need is 16,700 shares and you can make $1 million off of that. And that's the goal. That's the goal, right? So, shooting for that. Other news, credit default swaps on UBS and other European banks are skyrocketing at rates faster than they ever did in 2008. Elon Musk has lost his financing to buy Twitter. So he basically said, yeah, I'll buy you the other day, and to avoid having to testify and give deposition at his trial that he forced. And then when it was announced he lost his financing, said, I had a close contact with COVID. I can't go give a deposition today. Bullshit. Here's the thing about Elon's financing for Twitter. It's really shitty. So when interest rates were low 6 months ago, the interest rates on the loan he had to take out to buy Twitter were going to cost him more than the revenue Twitter generates every year. So Twitter generates like $1.5 billion. The interest rate's going to be like $2 billion. Now the interest rates have gone up. If you were to follow through with this financing, it's going to cost him close to $3 billion a year in just interest for Twitter. Plus, you have to put up around $80 billion in collateral of Tesla stock to do it. And that collateral has a trigger. If the stock drops to a certain price point, the bank seizes all the stock and seizes Twitter and gets all of it. So Elon would get run out of the company. He would no longer have control of Tesla. He would now be a minority owner. And here's the thing is that because he just said, yes, I'll finally buy, and then his financiers backed out, he may have to sell Tesla stock, $44 billion worth, to buy Twitter, plus however much he has to sell because he's going to be paying capital gains and all that at an obscene rate. So maybe he has to sell $60 or $70 billion of Tesla stock, which will crash the price, and he will no longer be a majority owner, and the shareholders will push him out. So he sells $60-70 billion in Tesla stock, buys Twitter. Twitter value crashes because half the people who use Twitter will no longer use it anymore, and it's not a company that should be worth $55 a share anyway. And he goes from the richest man in the world to not the richest man in the world, and can no longer basically wield his Tesla stock with any weight. So, oops. Man, what a What an oops. There we go. All right. Off. What was the other thing I was going to talk about? I think I had one more thing listed in there. Tesla. Oh, yeah. Inverse Cramer is becoming a thing. So, Inverse Cramer ETF got filed today, and that is going to be, you can actually invest into an Inverse Cramer ETF. So, that'll be hilarious. It's not just talk anymore. It's an actual thing. Chakuseki, countdown for Revlon delisting hearing. Let's hope Perlman squeezes the shiz. Also, can you discuss Magnetars and hydrodynamics? I mean, we talked about hydrodynamics in Uranus, because Uranus has 14 Earth worth of water. Magnetars. Okay. So, all right. So in you have this big star, right? Big giant star, huge. It's giant and it collapses. So in the inside of the star, while it's being its normal star stage, it's fusing hydrogen into helium, and then the helium into carbon, that carbon into oxygen, and so on. And eventually in the biggest stars, you get a big giant iron core because it's not enough pressure to fuse that iron into anything. And they have these onion layers of other elements being fused as you work your way out until finally you get to like the hydrogen layer on the outside. If the iron core gets too big, the electrons that are trying to keep everything away from each other can no longer overcome the gravitational pull, pulling everything in, and you lose your hydrostatic equilibrium. So gravitational pressure overwhelms it, whole star collapses, 10% of the star's mass fuses all at once, get your heavy elements like uranium and crap blowing out of there, and what's left behind is a neutron star. And this is basically, if you can overcome the strong and weak nuclear forces, you can get the protons and electrons to fuse and become neutrons, and the whole thing becomes one giant, essentially inert nucleus. Now, this stuff will work in a superfluid, which is kind of weird to think about. And when that thing collapses down, because the angular momentum is conserved, it collapses down and has a rotational element to it. So it starts spinning faster and faster and faster, just like the ice dancer pulling in their arms. And it's spinning super fast, making a super giant charged magnetosphere. And you get huge Van Allen belts that come off there, big magnetic fields. So that's it. that's your, yeah. So hydrodynamics is basically when you have a fluid that can contain a charge, and if that fluid is moving, you're getting a magnetic field. Because as long as you have a moving charge, you have a magnetic field. If you've got a magnetic field, you have a moving charge, and so on. There you go. There you go, Chakuseki. Does that work for you? All right. Better, because that's all I got for you. Guitar stuff. Mariners win. They do. They won a walk-off today. Woo! Afternoon game. Last game of the season. Now it's on to the playoff. Going to go play in Canada. So, I'm sorry, Canadians. But the Mariners are going to win. I don't know. It's our first time in the playoffs in 21 years. We got to get something out of it. Latinum. Want to buy a high-quality amethyst geode, about a foot tall. Where's the best place to get one? How can I tell if it's dyed or not? You'll be able to tell with the amethyst one because it'll be clear. The dyed geodes are kind of milky. If it's true amethyst, it should be transparent. You should be able to see through it. Best place to get one? I mean, there's rock shops all over the place, but they're really expensive. Maybe you might be able to get a thunder egg from eBay or something. Someone might sell one that's not cut. You just take it to a rock cutter and they'll cut it for you. That might cost you a little bit because it takes about 4 hours to cut one of those big ones in a rock saw. I check garage sales, Craigslist. People that collect that stuff, they pass away or they move in a new house, they can't take it with them. So you might find one for sale in the classifieds essentially. But if you're going to buy from a rock shop, you're going to pay a pretty penny. For something that's a foot high, they'll probably want, I don't know, $500, $1,000 for something like that. You'll be paying a good amount there, Latinum. Homer's Ghost, who falls first? Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, or Morgan Stanley? I'm going to say Credit Suisse, then Bank of America. Those two. And I always forget, is it Morgan Stanley owned by Bank of America, or is it Merrill Lynch that's owned by Bank of America? I can't remember which one it was that they bought. Both of them start with an M in my brain. Bank of America owns Morgan Stanley or Merrill Lynch? And then Merrill Lynch. That's who they bought. Okay, they bought Merrill Lynch. I knew it was one of those, but I couldn't remember which one. And my brain just starts with an M. Same thing as far as I'm concerned. I'm saying Credit Suisse. The thing is, if Credit Suisse goes down, it might drag down UBS with it. And if that's the case, it might drag down the entire Swiss banking industry. Because they're like 60% of the banking in Switzerland is those two companies, those two banks. The rest of it is like small little family-owned banks. And then they have the cantons, like each little county or state inside of Switzerland has their own state-run bank, which are more like little consumer-level banks for the locals. And they don't have the gravitas at all that Credit Suisse or UBS has. So I don't know what the Swiss will do if one of the suckers go down. Because Switzerland has a population of like 5 million people. And if you got a bank with $1 trillion in assets that goes, what do you do about that? I don't know. I don't know the answer, man. I don't know the answer. And yes, Daphne, this is a cool shirt. This is an Indian cotton shirt. And underneath, I have another cool shirt that a viewer sent me. A Surf Wyoming shirt. This is the shirt that I wore while skiing in Switzerland this year. Sexy shirt. I like it. Okay. Where was I? What was I doing? I was... Guitar stuff. My prediction, they run the market to 385 on the SPY, and then we start buying puts. I wouldn't think it's too far off. Push everything up 385. I mean, they got down to 360 in June and push it back up over 400 again. And then it dropped back down to 360 again and worked its way back up. So right now 360 seems to be the trampoline that's bouncing off of, and it's just holding. I think they're going to keep it up and keep it up and keep it up until one of these banks announces that they're going under, and then everything's just going to follow. My guess is that they're trying to get retail to load up. They're like, oh, well, I guess the market's doing well. We have nothing to worry about. And we're going to buy. And they're going to sell us everything they have. And then that's it. The bottom's going to fall out. Retail's going to be left holding the bag. And that's their goal. That's what they did. That's what they did in 2008. Jim Cramer, don't sell your Bear Stearns. They're fine. Runk. Gone. So they'll do that again and again and again and again and again and again and again. They want you holding the bag, not themselves. Lost Ways, what's up with your boy Garth Brooks? Will he confess about hiding the bodies? What? I have no idea what it even means. Okay. Any experience or tips for dealing with life with eczema? No. I mean, there's like certain medications that help eczema. I know that. I have a little thing that's considered eczema, but what it really is an allergy to nickel. So if I eat chocolate or have like pineapple juice from a can that's acidic, it can leach nickel into my system, and it gives me like itchy little like hives on my fingers. But the thing is like I like chocolate, so that's what I'm gonna eat, and I will just put up with itchy fingers every once in a while for eating chocolate. But I don't know what's like having regular eczema or like, was it psoriasis or whatever? Don't know. Meow meow. The Swiss don't need their banks. They will just focus on cheese, clocks, and army knives. And Bear? Is that Swiss? I think Bear's Swiss. Because they bought Monsanto, right? So they got that going for them too. I just wonder if my ski trip this year is either going to be really cheap or really expensive. Is inflation going to take off, or is it going to be like, well, we can't afford to do anything anymore? So come to Switzerland and we'll just give you things for coming. Lots of ways to upload your music already. Let's hear them squeedly D's. I need to find a zip. I think I have a zip drive somewhere because it's all stored on 250 megabyte zip disk. So I gotta find one that works. Deep and sweet, bro. What's the origin of the Eye of Sahara? Origin story. You know, Lost Waves. Oh man, you guys did a lot of chats before I got on here. Holy smokes. All right. So again, for some reason, YouTube took away my timestamp, so I have no idea what time, how far behind I am in the chats, and makes it really hard to find. So I've got to try and highlight these things at least so I can scroll back and get to them. Okay. Brand T, Houston, a couple questions. One, any news on Sears? None that I know of. Two, ever considered short real estate ETFs? They're going to do really well. We talked about them, like, it was a DRV and a couple others. If they get to levels where, like 08 levels, I think it was DRV, had like a $330,000 spike in 08, 09. So those could really mean something. I think they're a great thing. Spy puts and probably those are a great thing to get into leading into the sucker. And the real estate short ETFs, I think, will last longer than the SPY going down. So they'll pay out longer. Because it takes, 2-3 years for the housing market to really like turn itself around and get climbing back up again. Especially when everyone's losing their shirt on them all. And yeah, that's probably not so bad. Probably not so bad at all. Sad Boy Incorporated. Houston, thoughts on the Russian Apocalypse submarine going missing from its station port, potentially working towards a first strike? Yeah, if you guys don't know about the Apocalypse submarine, also known as like the tsunami bomb, essentially it's got like a Tsar bomb sized 50 megaton nuke inside of it, and it is remote, like no people on it. It just goes somewhere and will sit off of like a major city, and they tell that thing to launch. It goes kabronk and just kills everyone in that city with a tsunami. That's the idea anyway. That sucks. But I would guess that we've got sub hunters out there looking like crazy for this thing and seeing ways they could jam that signal or capture it or whatever. I don't know. I'm very curious as to where it went. Yeah, it's one of those things that Russia claims they have, and I don't know if it works. I don't know if there's even a bomb in there, if that thing actually works remotely, if there's a bunch of Russians who are going to have to sacrifice their lives to make that thing travel on its own. But it's, Russia's rattling those sabers right now. Lost Ways, what's your favorite Super Mario game? Mario Kart for the Nintendo 64. That's my favorite of all the Marios. Yep. Okay. On Marcella, just for fun, what is your best guess date for MOASS? Amazing show. Let me look at a calendar here. Okay. October. So that's Thanksgiving. November 30th. Wednesday, November 30th. That's what's going to happen. We'll get some reports of what Black Friday is doing. Then we go, Black Friday didn't do that well. Cyber Monday wasn't that hot either. And then a bank's going to collapse, and then everything goes up for Wednesday, November 30th. Pulling that out of my ass. Plus, you got the short trading week before that. Things are going to be weird. Boo. Go Mariners, indeed. Jason Blackwell, MMTLP getting spicy. Yeah, George tweeted an iceberg in worn shorts. Yep. He tweeted the iceberg, and then the camera goes underneath and shows how giant the iceberg is underneath that. And Rolling Houston, good news. My uncle is okay. Fantastic. Finally got through cell service restored. Was he able to evacuate? Because he said he was in a mobile home in Fort Myers, right? And from what I saw, every mobile home in Fort Myers is just like in a drift piled up against roads and other buildings. So hopefully he's got a home. But I'm glad he's doing all right. Issa, I love watching my show on my night shifts. Well, I love you listening to the show during night shifts. Daphne, minor damage only. Phew. All right. Kamacha Timatova to those observing Yom Kippur. Yeah, my roommate finally got some food in him. He said at his prayer service that he was about ready to pass out today. If you don't know, you're supposed to fast from, was it sundown yesterday to sundown today? Can't even have water. Can't even have water to go the entire hour. Then you pray for like hours and hours and hours. And he's ultra orthodox, so he has to observe all these things more specifically than other people who are Jews, like reformists and stuff. So he was glad to get some food in him. Actually, I put the show up and then went and picked him up from his prayer thing. Brought him back home. BGP done a mobile transport system for bacteria. Gensler stuff got something in the far south for us. Let's travel. Let's go somewhere. Oh yeah, we left off in the Falkland Islands last time. Oh, I got to get rid of that parenthesis there. Where are we going? Going to... Which island is this one? We're going to the side of the island. Got some glaciers. Which volcano are we on? Heard Island and McDonald Islands. Campbell Peak. Big Ben, Heard Island. So we're at... How tall are you? 8,000? 8,500? 8,000? Got a little cool lagoon there. Is this the one that's owned by Australians, or is it... So... Yeah, we got Australia. We have French Southern Antarctic Islands. So this one's French? That's where we visited last time, right? We went to this one a couple shows ago. This guy is like a little Maui. It's got the two shield volcanoes, just like Maui, the two little lobes. And then it's got a crazy sandbar off of here. That's pretty wild. Dover's Moraine. So this is a glacial moraine here that made that lake. That's pretty cool. This place is pretty bitchin' looking. Scarlet Hill. Okay. Heard Islands and McDonald Islands. What we got for you? What's the history of this place? Please don't scroll past this. I just scrolled past it. I'm sorry. Australian is the Australian one. External territory comprising a volcanic group of mostly barren Antarctic islands, about 2/3 of the way from Madagascar to Antarctica. The group's overall size is 372 kilometers squared, not very big, 144 square miles. The islands among the most remote places on Earth. They are located 4,000 miles southwest of, or kilometers southwest of Perth. Islands are uninhabited, can only be reached by sea, which from Australia would take 2 weeks. So you can't get there any other way except by boat. The island cluster has recorded visitors since the mid-1850s. Really? So no one's been there for 170 years. Anyone? Really? America said John Heard until the 1850s. Sorry, I was like, that doesn't make sense. American sailor John Hurd on the ship Oriental sighted Hurd Island on 25th November 1853 en route from Boston to Melbourne. And then Sam Rang discovered the nearby McDonald Island 6 weeks later in 1854. No landing took place on islands until 1855. Islands formerly claimed by the United Kingdom in 1910, transferred to Australia in 1947. Receipt confirmed exchange, letters exchanged on 19th December 1950. Archipelago became World Heritage Site in 1997. Okay. Tell me about no one lives there. Is there any settlements of any kind? Small wetlands, climate, wildlife, constraints, history. Microfossils said there's probably ferns and woody plants at one time. Glaciers retreating. Administration and economy. So, there you go. There's the city of Hurd Island in the 1920s. 1929. Okay. And no one lives there. So, there's no economy. Well, let's go visit. Who wants to go play on some ice floes that go into the ocean here? I mean, there's a lot of Wikipedia articles for all these things. If I were a person looking to build a camp anywhere, I mean, they really named everything here, but there's, look at this forest, Schmid Glacier. There is no evidence of a camp of any kind on this sucker. None. I see no camps. So if you do come in here, you are gonna have to, there's some big cliffs there. You're gonna have to like rough it. Spend some time roughing it. Okay, so that's Hurd Island, and this is McDonald Island here? This little guy must be McDonald Island. Yep. Oh, South Island, McDonald Islands. So then French are there. Huh. Well, there you have it. Going around remote islands in the middle of the Pacific. Just in my head, as Hello Old Glacier ice melts, is it possible for ancient sea viruses to be released that could kill masses of fish and plant life? Maybe not necessarily the glaciers themselves, because the glaciers themselves were from snow. So the snow got layered, and that was pretty, inert of viruses and things, because those don't evaporate. What are you doing over there? You snorfing away? A little snorf dog? Doing the snorf thing? Okay. So you're not going to get any viruses from the glaciers themselves. What you can get are bacterias from permafrost, and those suckers might wash out to sea. I have no idea. There was talk about these like giant bacteria and viruses that came out of permafrost in Siberia that were, thought to be extinct or never known about. And that, hey buddy, what's up? What's up? You want to get your thing? You are making some snurfs over there, like the hiccups or something. And so, I'm sure those can get the drainages and get out to sea, but I don't know if it will necessarily affect sea life. Salt water, because it has salt in it, tamps down on a lot of transmissible diseases. That's a good question, though, overall. If it gets into river systems and stuff, that can have much more play. I'm going to have to ask my evolutionary biology friends and see what they have to say. Meow meow. How I missed that Labyrinth was actually an amazing display of David Bowie's massive junk disguised as a children's fantasy story. As a kid, I wasn't paying attention to that part. But, rock stars, they'll stuff a zucchini down there if they have to. Bill Coyne, the note on your filing cabinet is so light, I can't read it. Do you need new ink? Make it bigger? So, Jersey printed this one off for me for ad space for rent, telling me there to DM me on Twitter. And then the like, comment, share, subscribe. Maybe we Jersey, maybe we need to make those bigger. And then he is doing a collection of warm clothing for Ukrainians. So it's US dollar. He's in Poland, US dollar exchange rate. And then this is an international banking code. I told him to like do a PayPal or something if he can, because I don't think Americans really deal with this at all. But about $20 is enough to get warm clothing for Ukrainian for this winter. And his local, I don't know, they call them Boy Scouts in Poland, but the local scout troop is raising money for Polish warm weather clothes. So throwing that up there for today's, and it will stay there until somebody else sends something my way. So there you go. And then he's got the Go Ask Houston there as well. I'm trying to remember. I try to swing by like once a day. Steve keeps saying like, show up, man, answer people's questions. So I try to show up like once a day, and feel free like to hop on there. And if I haven't answered a question yet, you know the answer to it, answer away on everything. I love to see like the conversations and stuff that can happen with that. So we're treating this kind of like our Discord server. It's free. Just go to goaskhouston.com and throw something in there. So yeah. All right. Where was I? Oh yeah, OPEC. That's one thing I should put in there, Richard White. It was OPEC had a meeting in Vienna where they said, yeah, we're going to cut back production by 2 million barrels a day. And Biden announced he's going to release 10 million more barrels of our reserves. Maybe 10 billion. Can't remember, it was a lot. And then is normalizing relations and allowing imports of oil from Venezuela again, and sending in crews from, I think, Chevron to help modernize their oil fields. So, like I said, you know, when this whole thing happened, crystal ball time, I said that this would result in normalizing relations with Venezuela. And it's looking like we have massive protests happening in Hungary against Orban. And we've got huge protests happening in Iran against the Ayatollah and the president there over the head coverings, and the women are they're not putting up with it anymore. They're going to war, and the police have sided with the women. So the police are out there murdering the religious police, which are a different group entirely, and I think they're gonna get some crazy reforms out of this. Because Russia is so weak right now, and Russia is the largest backer of Iran, there's no one to help the Iranian government. Even the Saudis hate the Iranian government, so there's no one to turn to. The Chinese are kind of going, what are we going to do about this? And then also, Taiwan said that any incursion of their airspace within 12 miles of their shoreline will count as an act of war, and they'll shoot them down. So they've warned the Chinese, don't even come near us right now. We'll blast you out of the sky. So there's a lot of aggression going on at the moment. It's a very, very aggro mood the humanity's in at the moment. So, you know, start digging your bomb shelter in your backyard right now. Raider Bow, carbon-based life form product of my environment. Huh? Oh, that's who you are. Okay, I get it. All right. BTW Brand Houston talked about both those mines and blah, blah, blah. Wait, where? Mines? Am I missing something? What's happening? I feel like I just missed something. I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry, BTW Brand. I don't know what you're referring to there. Meow meow. Saudi Arabia needs higher oil prices because their oil reserves are depleting, and when they run out, their country has no future. I mean, that's true. I'm not sure what peak oil is for Saudi Arabia. I think they've got 200 billion barrels. How much do they have in reserve right now? Saudi Arabia oil reserves. 2022. There we go. 297.5 billion barrels is what they claim. Venezuela has 303 billion proven reserves. Canada's number 3 at 168. Oh, you guys can't see the list because I'm not showing you the list. And I need to show you the list. There we go. All right, so current proven reserves. Venezuela 303, Saudi Arabia 297, Canada 168, Iran 157, Iraq 145, Russia 107, Kuwait 105, UAE 97. So those are proven oil reserves. If the United States were to count our shale oil deposits, which a lot of places we don't because we don't allow any extraction of it, but in Colorado, in the shales alone, there's like 1 trillion barrels of oil in the shales of Colorado, but we aren't exploiting most of it because it's, delicate environments, and we are putting the draining of everyone else over us first. What else is on that list? Okay. Oh, go away, thing. United States, number 9, 68, and Libya is at 48. So, okay. Anyone else on there? Nope, I don't say who's after that. I'm sure Nigeria and Angola are on there. All right, cool. Cool. Oh, go away. Richard White, by comparison, the 100,000 barrel increase recently, that's a rather substantial decrease. I mean, yeah, it's 20 times the amount of increase it is in decrease. I'm curious to see what's going to happen in Saudi-U.S. relations, because it's obvious Trump and the Saudis formed a bond, and it's thought that some of the nuclear secrets that were found in Trump's cache at Mar-a-Lago had to do with nuclear secrets about Iran that Trump sold to the Saudis, or an exchange of some kind. And part of it could have been the $2 billion investment in Jared Kushner's fledgling hedge fund. It could be Trump getting a piece of the Live Golf Tour that started. Who knows what else? Maybe they got dirt on them, and I don't know. But they definitely do what Trump asked them to do, and they're not doing what Biden asked them to do. So I wouldn't doubt Saudi Arabia won't get any weapons for a while if they ask for more. And they probably won't get any maintenance on the ones they have if they ask for that either. Last wave, check out the Illinois Pretrial Act. I have no idea what that means. Illinois Pretrial Act. Signed law, Governor, February 2021. Abolish use of cash bail and pretrial release decisions. Establishes new processes for pretrial release detention. Well, that thing. I don't know enough about it. I'll have to look it up more later. Retail Fairness Act. I like that. Point Loma in the house. Hey, San Diego. This has been a long and painful process, long and strong between Ape AMC, over 2,000 shares. Happy birthday, HW. Hey, well, at least you got 2,000 shares, and you're in Point Loma. So, I played that little golf course there a couple of times. They have like a little 9-hole executive course on the base there. I played that a few times. Also, when I was 12? So my brother went to San Diego State. We were down there for his graduation. I went to the little cliffs at Point Loma. And, it's a kid. You're looking down 30 feet to the ocean. And I went, pooh. And the loogie just caught the wind and hit my dad in the face. He was just like, boy, don't spin into the wind. Still remember that vividly. This is overall disappointment in me. That was like, pooh, whack. Just in my head, what's the relationship between OPEC output, offsetting interest rates, and inflation? Big. I mean, oil prices are a huge cause of inflation. They're calculated into a big portion of the cost of living. Because, if oil prices are low, if they're at 1999 levels, where we're paying $10 a barrel for oil and 87 cents a gallon of gasoline at the pump, You're filling up your 20-gallon tank for, $18. Cool. That means you can drive for the next 2 weeks on $18. Now, 20 years later, we're filling up a 20-gallon tank for $120, right? So you're 5 times or more, maybe 6 times what you were paying before 20 years ago. And now your cost for fuel consumption, which was maybe $36 to $40 a month, is now $240 a month. That's a huge chunk. That's a huge chunk of people's income, and it eats into their discretionary income. So it means they're not going to eat out as much. It means they're not going to take trips as often. They're not going to drive as far. They're not going to go do things like they normally would. They're going to be homebodies, playing things for free, doing what they can at home that's cheaper. But that also extends to shipping costs and costs of producing goods and the cost of plastics and, expenditures for transportation companies. And so those costs get passed on, which means the overall cost of things will go up as a result. So it is a big contributor to inflation. They're saying oils might hit $110 a barrel by the end of the month as a result of this cutback, which is great news for the MMTLP people. If we're at over $100 a barrel, I think we're looking at a dividend that's like $60 or more, which is A-okay in my book. But in the meantime, I also need to fill up a gas tank and deal with that crap too. Anna, okay, got a coordinate. Zoom in. I will zoom in. Bing, bong, boom. Go. Can't understand this location. What do you mean can't understand this location? That makes sense to me, and that makes sense to me. So what is the problem, yo? That's minutes, that's seconds. Yeah, no, it doesn't like what I'm doing here. So if I just go like that, and then go like that, and then maybe go like that. Let's try that. Let's try to edit this and see if that will work. Oops, I deleted the wrong thing. It was 4729. And then we'll delete the minute symbol on there and see if this will work. There we go. Snohomish County. Okay, come to my neck of the woods here. Go there. Zoom in. Okay. I'm zooming in. I'm on a cliff. I'm in Snohomish County. I am zoomed in. How far do you want me to zoom in? I mean, we got a great view up here, but I don't know what else is going on. Right? 729. That's where I am. Is there... I mean, that's good rock scree you got going on there. Is there anywhere to drop this little guy? Where? Is this out near Monte Cristo? Where am I? Which county? Which peak is that? Is that Pilchuck? Where am I? I don't know what peak that is. All right, Liberty Mountain. Foothills. That's Highway 2. Index. I don't even know what we're doing here. What are we doing here? I don't know, Anna. That's somewhere in Snohomish County on the side of a hill that does hill things. Oat Milk Man got a maraca playing lemon? Thank you, Oat Milk Man, the most threatening name on the internet. Sending a lovely lemon. I was going to say onion for some reason. No, that is a lemon. Actually, I need to put this one here. Should I put that one there? I hit it with my arm and I spilled over my keyboard. And it's bad for everybody. Okay. I'm not your friend. What's happening? Things. Properly Stupid Houston. Saw some news about Russia and Saudis. I think lowering oil output bad for the world, good for MMTLP, and by extension us, me. Yes. And then there's also news, also apparently that Europe and the US are going to put a cap on how much they'll pay for oil. They're going to say, yeah, we're not going to pay any more than this per barrel, and that's it. Take it or leave it. And the Russians and Saudis and OPEC are like, whoa. Brah. But Russia is selling their oil at 20% the price anyway, because they can only sell it to China and India, and I don't think anyone else is buying it. If they are doing a black market. And, you know, if Russia runs into any issues in their oil fields, then they have no production. So what are they going to do? They need Western companies to maintain their oil fields for them and to drill new wells and to do all that stuff. They don't have the infrastructure or the industry in place to handle that. And all the young men who would be doing that work, they just conscripted in the military or they fled the country. So who's the economist? He's basically saying that the amount of men that have been conscripted and who have fled the country is going to result in overall economic collapse by Christmas in Russia. That their productivity of everything is going to basically go to zero because there's no one to do any work. So 700,000 so far men have fled Russia for other countries. 700,000. That's what? There's 120. I got to do some math here. All right, we're going to go there. Population of Russia, 144 million. So basically 70 million or so men, because men die much younger in Russia. So that's an appreciable percentage of their population. Not quite one, not it's not 1% or anything, but it is 1%, right? 700,000? Yeah, so 1% of all the men in Russia have left. That's not a small amount. And another million are being called up to the military, so that's 1.5% or so getting conscripted in the military. So 2.5% of all men in Russia are like not working and not in the country. So, and then those guys will get slaughtered because they've got no weapons and no ammunition, and they're going to freeze to death and they're going to starve because there's no logistics support. So, there's going to be a lot of young Russian ladies looking for Western husbands. So if you are on those mail order bride websites, they're going to start showing up like crazy soon. Okay. Lost waves, can we actually buy more MMTLP? I don't think if you order you can, but I think if you call your broker, you can beg them. Be like, dude, I'm going to give you money. I want you to go out and buy this crap for me. I think you have to call them. So you have to call Fidelity and be like, buy it. And they'll go, do you realize what you're buying? And you say, yeah, do it anyway. So I think that's how you have to do that. I know your friend. Was that? Wait, where? My E-Trade stopped allowing buys. I thought I read some good news that it's getting closer to the S-1 finally happening. Hope HW goes over that. Yeah, S-1 got submitted, so now we're waiting for approval from the SEC on that sucker. Hopefully soon, right? And then the minute it gets approved, I think the announcement comes, and 15 days later the company turns private. So in 15 days, every single solitary naked share has to be purchased. And if it isn't purchased, then the broker for the hedge fund has to go out and basically liquidate them and force a buy on that stuff. So the price is going to go to whatever it is. So if we all sit here and go, no, I'm not selling until $100 a share, it's very likely it can go to $100 a share before privatization. And if it goes private and, oil's at $110 a barrel and there's 3 to 5 billion barrels in the Oregon University lands, then, we might be looking at $100 a share. Anyway, so and then, like $1 billion of that sale would be windfall for Metamaterial, and the Metamaterial would go, hey, we just made $1 billion this quarter on like $6 million in expenses. And the internet goes, oh my God. And then their price shoots through the roof, and then they don't face that possible delisting anymore. That's the fantasy world perfection that will happen. Okay. Beat Up Your Brain can put orders in on TD. Cool. Lost Waves, what's up with Laser Raptors? I thought this one, I have no idea what that is. Okay. Houston will blurb about it in Ron sentence as an opening talk show. You guys know me so well. So I guess I'm still not to the point where the show started yet in the chat because I still have no timestamps. Why are there no timestamps? Can I make timestamps happen? Oh, toggle timestamps. How'd that happen? What they took away? Okay, I got time now. All right. It's back. There was a button I had to click. I learn things new every day. So, I'm now 8 minutes away from the start of the show, so I'm exactly an hour behind. Cool. All right. Okay. Hoshi Gaming Houston, tips on dealing with a breakup. Also, in potential options plays, I just put aside about $500 for that. Thanks, man. Have an awesome night. I'm going to be purchasing GameStop calls tomorrow. Probably get something that's end of October, beginning of November. So I made like November 4th options. I'm going to be buying 10 of whatever is around $100. So, because with OPEC's XRT hidden next week, I'm expecting some green on GameStop. So I'm using it purely as a cash generation play. So that'll give me, 14 calls. And if it's nice and green by next Friday, I'll sell those. And if it looks like next Friday is green enough that's going to put a pretty substantial amount of calls in the money for Monday, I will, that following Monday, I will buy a whole bunch that are basically at the money that Friday. They're weeklies. And then hopefully we'll get a whole bunch of green on the Monday from Gamma. And then I can sell those. Then I'll buy puts because it'll push the price back down again. And that's the move I'm going to make. So we'll see where it gets me. If it gets us to a point, kind of like we did in August, where the price up to $45 a share, cool. That'll net a pretty penny for each one of those options. That's what I'm shooting for. We'll see what happens with it, but that's what I'm doing with my cash. Oh, and then you wanted dealing with a breakup. I mean, it depends on the type of breakup. If what side of the breakup are you on? Are you the person who broke up, or are you the person who got broken up with? If you're the person who got broken up with, sometimes you're like, oh man, I thought this was going places. I'm really attached to you emotionally, and that sucks. But the thing about a relationship is, if it's one-sided, then you're not actually benefiting from it. So you got to remove yourself from the equation and look at it from the outside and say, was this meant to be? If they don't feel the way I feel about them, then it's like, oh, bummer. What else are you going to do? What can you do about that? Nothing. You're not going to win them back. It's over. So, you can kind of mourn and have your grieving and mope. And I totally get that. Do it. Get it out of your system. But you still got to wake up. Still got to go eat food. Still got to go to work. Still got to do all the little things that are part of living. And as time progresses, and you're getting used to not having that person around, you start to develop new habits and routines. And all of a sudden you find yourself meeting somebody new, going, you're kind of cool. And all of a sudden that other person just leaves your brain. And it's kind of remarkable how that, all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I was totally into that person. I thought they were in my entire world, and now I don't care. It's weird. It's a weird position to be in, but it's what happens. So, that's that's my best advice for dealing with breakup is just you go about your day and do your thing and have your moment of grieving and mourning and move on. Because what else can you do, right? Nothing. And you don't want to be the person who's like, oh, if I call them 500 more times, they'll finally pick up and listen to me. No, they don't want to listen to you, dude. It's over. So just done. I'm of the persuasion that if you break up with someone, getting back together, it's just going to be the same thing all over again. So there's no point. I know people that like got married, got divorced 5 years later, got married to the same person again, and they got divorced again because it was like, oh yeah, all the crap we didn't like about each other, we did that all over again. So, oops. Because over time, your brain kind of erases the negatives, and you forget. And then you're like, oh yeah, well, we hooked up again, and then I guess we should get married all over again. No, same stuff's going to happen. Person didn't change. They're still the same person. So, mourn and move on, man. Okay. BW brand, poor Elon, ego too big, and now his mouth has to fit that big humble pie instead of one bite. Yeah. People were joking that his really crappy idea about peace in Ukraine resulted in him getting just absolutely ratioed on Twitter. And he was like, you know what, damn it, I am going to buy Twitter. No one can ever ratio me again. And that's what they think was the entire basis behind it. It might be true. I would lean a little bit more towards he has to now give a deposition, and they released all sorts of text messages that make his side look really bad. And he doesn't want other stuff to come out. So he's like, oh, let's end this case. Let's end this case now. And I think that's kind of where we are on that. J-Web, catch this episode tomorrow. Well, I'll see you tomorrow, J-Web. Science Me, Houston, why don't they make COVID vaccines in line with the latest variants? The touted benefits of mRNA shots was that they're easier to design and manufacture. Also, do you know about leaky vaccines? There are leaky vaccines. Leaky vaccines are live virus vaccines, which I don't know if there's any live viruses that are used in the Western world. There were live virus polio vaccines being used in like India and Kashmir and stuff. And those did result in some actual polio infections. So you get this like muted live virus in your vaccine, might be a sugar pill or shot or whatever. And your body has, attacks it and you're now immune. Sometimes that live virus is a little too live and you spread it to somebody else. So you might be immune to it, but then you give polio to somebody who is not yet vaccinated and you can get a little swirl of polio there. mRNA ones won't cause that. Why aren't they able to design them in line? I think the problem is that this virus is mutating too quickly. The whole letter rip strategy, I don't think that's been really great for the genetic diversity of this virus. I don't know if you've read the article recently about BQ1 and B2735 or whatever, 2357. They are immune to all vaccines and treatments do not work. So your monoclonal antibodies won't work, but also like the Paxlovid won't work. And other pills designed to fight the virus don't work. And they're saying that this might mean a huge rate of infection come this fall for Americans and others. So the problem with trying to align the vaccine strains in time with the mRNA or with the virus is that it takes a long time to produce this stuff, to get the factory up and running and to change the chemical components. So you need to vaccinate 8 billion people, right? So you need to get 8 billion doses out there. Okay. You get 6 doses per vial. They have to be stored at certain temperatures. To be able to produce that many vials is a huge undertaking. So you get them all produced. Okay, we got this thing undone, and it's 6 months later, right? The virus has gone through 2 iterations and is now a completely different species, and your little vaccine isn't enough. So you go, okay, we're going to start making for this new latest one that's out there, and it doesn't work. So what they do with the flu virus is they predict what the strain is going to be next year. They say, okay, we think there's going to be a mutation here and a mutation there and a mutation there, and so we're going to make this little thing in a lab. We're going to produce it, and we're going to give it to you before the virus mutates into that. The problem is that some years it's 0% effective because they guessed wrong. Other years it's like 30%, and some years they hit it out of the park, and like no one gets the flu, gets the shot. I think what they need to do with the mRNA vaccine is kind of, or with the COVID vaccine in general, now we have so many iterations of the same virus, is we need to do what they're doing with the permanent flu vaccine that's being developed, where basically it took every single solitary sort of topological marker in either the genome or the structure of the flu virus, of any flu virus we've had over the last 1,000 years, and they made this amalgamation fake virus that has every single solitary indicator. And then they injected that, and all of a sudden it wipes out any flu transmission. Any possible mutation the flu virus can have for the next 1,000 years has been taken care of, and you're not going to get that flu. They've had successful trials in fetal pigs. What we need to do is we need to take the pieces of COVID that have run rampant and have escaped various, and vaccines and whatnot, and we need to make some sort of mutant that has all the little pieces into one little dead virus, and then inject people, and hopefully we'll have lasting immunity from that point forward. Getting multiple infections of COVID is turning out to be really, really bad. It's essentially a blood disease. It weakens your blood vessels. It can cause all sorts of coagulating problems. So you're looking at aneurysms and strokes and heart attacks and stuff. So while you're sick, your chance of heart attack and stroke goes through the roof. But it stays high for a long time because if it's weakening your blood vessels, right? If your blood vessels are being weakened, then they're constantly having the stress of your blood pressure passing through it. And after time, it's just going to break and you're going to have an aneurysm or a stroke or whatever. So they're finding that people, they're on their 3rd infection. Their first 2 are fine. 3rd one doing okay. Then boom, stroke, dead. Shit. Europe battled the bubonic plague for 360 years. 360 years before the Europeans got their act together and figured out they need to wash themselves and get rid of rats. We might be in for quite a few years of this crap. And it's just going to get tiresome, man. It's going to be so tiresome. There's also a study that got revealed that showed that Democrats and Republicans in the United States had the same life expectancy. Same life expectancy all the way up to January 2020. And then after January 2020, all the way to December 2020, same life expectancy. But it went down for everybody because people were getting sick with COVID and stuff. Both sides went down. Since the vaccines came out in December 2020, the difference in life expectancy between Republicans and Democrats are drastically pronounced by a decade. Because one side was getting vaccinated and the other side wasn't. And now Republicans have a significantly lower life expectancy than Democrats in the United States because the Republican Party in general was anti-vaccine and the Democrats weren't. So they're seeing a pronounced difference now in life expectancies of both groups. So, the vaccines, they help. They do lessen the severity of the infection. But you still don't want to get repeat infections over and over and over again, especially when you're getting, some new variant that's coming out of Singapore or Africa or South America that you've never heard of and you don't know about, and the vaccine efficacy is very low, and you get yourself a rough infection where you might get thousands of blood clots or weakened immune systems or breaks the blood-brain barrier, and all of a sudden you're just dumb as shit. You don't want to get sick. you can't protect yourself from getting sick by getting sick. It's just not going to work with an RNA virus. All it's going to do is just going to hammer you over and over and over and over again in different ways, 2, 3, 4 times a year. And we need to do our best to avoid having that happen, because we are noticing like cognitive differences when people get repeated infections. Just, don't get sick. Do your best not to get sick. It's the very least you can do. True secret, the shirts keep getting uglier, sign of a short squeeze. This shirt is sexy as hell, man. This is a beautiful shirt. This is beautiful Indian cotton. I love this shirt so much. BW brand US dollar, PLN. That's Polish. The Polish dollar. It's Poland. Okay. See Science Me thinks it's a beautiful shirt. Yeah. All right. I am an hour and 4 minutes behind the chat. Let's see where we can go. Get forged. In relation to Muskie not being the richest man in the world anymore, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. Everything is like, 3 to 5 years, and then okay. Westwind, Houston, why limit to $60 a share if they need to close those shorts? Can't we hold out much higher? Is there a risk to do that? No, there's no risk. You can hold out as high as you want. I'm just saying that if you're going to play the odds and, the tax basis on selling your shares versus getting the dividend essentially from the sale of the company are going to play out differently. So if you're going to sell for high amount for MMTLP. Something that's going to be possibly more than what the dividend will be if they sell the oil lands. Simply because you're going to pay whatever percent taxes on that sale, and if it ends up in the end being less than what the overall dividend would be, then you just lost out to everybody else compared to everyone else. Does Monkey have fleas? No. Monkey has the pill thingy. She doesn't have fleas. Anthony Frontera, what's behind the run of Peggy? Traded its float almost 20 times for the day. Well, shit. I was not paying attention to Peggy, so I have no idea. Peggy. This is Pineapple Energy Incorporated. Okay. So they were at 80 cents, essentially, from time immemorial. So their bottom was 80 cents on the 3rd. Back last month, they're at $2. They dropped down to 80 cents, and they spiked at 276 today. So it looks like they got shorted down. Where were they? Beginning of the year, they're as high as $10 in February. And they've been as high as... Where is that? As high as $38 in September of last year. So this is a small little bump compared to where they have been in the past. Looks like they got shorted to shit in September. Oh, you guys can't see except for I turn on the thing. So they had another big boom in 2019 at 30 something bucks. Where are we? 38 in December 2019. COVID hit, bam, went down, stayed kind of meh. And then they had another spike in September of last year and a quick crash by October. Bam. So it took about a year for them to drive that price down to 80 cents from $38. That's a lot. Max. Oh, and they've been as high. Oh, they've been in the really high in the 74. Come on, tell me what that is. 55. How high are you? I want mouse. 74. I can't even see. 75. They've been in the 70s before. In the last 20 years. And started out as a $4 stock at 82. So they've been really high before. I have no idea what type of dilution they've had. But 80 cents to $2. I know nothing about them. I don't know why they call Pineapple Energy and they're based in Minnesota. I don't know what they do. I know nothing about them. But I mean, you look at something that's been $70+ or $100, I guess, is where that peak was in the past, and it went from 80 cents to 76. People go, whoa! But in reality, it went from $100 to 80 cents. That's $100 in $1999 or $2,000. So that's a lot of inflation since then. Hanzar, Kapow, happy hump day, Houston. First thought on Judge's 62 homers, a legitimate home run king, or is it still Barry? Second, who do you think will make the most noise in the playoffs? Who will take it all? Thanks. The Yankees and the Dodgers are really strong. If I were to guess, I think it's going to be the major markets, possibly in the World Series, which would, Major League Baseball goes, oh, finally 2 major market teams playing in the World Series. Judging from like the way the Mariners played maybe Houston Yankees, possibly in the American League Championship, maybe one of those, the World Series. But the way the Mariners played NL teams, especially like Atlanta, they kicked the shit out of Atlanta. So I'm not seeing too much like from NL other than like maybe the Dodgers. My roommate and I were just talking about this. But the 3 strongest teams, I think, Dodgers, Yankees, Astros. The Mariners have incredible pitching, but their batting order sucks. Outside of Rodriguez, there's, a bunch of meh players. Ty France is okay. Mitch Haniger can be a stud, but he's been so injury prone, it's really hard for him to get back into a groove again. But there's not really too much on the Mariners side that's strong. They got a couple of their regulars that are injured and might not be able to make it into the playoffs in general. So they're going to be standing on their pitching alone unless somebody just turns on the freak and becomes a complete stud batting wise. Blue Jays, okay. Guardians, meh. They're not going anywhere. Tampa Bay, meh. Atlanta, for being World Series champions, they aren't quite there yet. I don't think they're going to repeat. But I'm just happy the Mariners made the playoffs for the first time in 21 years, and I hope it lasts for more than one game. So that's what I'm going for. And Judge 62 homers, I give Judge the crown of legitimacy because I don't think anyone else who broke that record did it without a copious amount of anabolic steroids in their body. I think it was all steroids that powered those home runs through. And, that's cheating as far as I'm concerned. So no, I give the legitimate crown to Aaron Judge on this one. Scott Lindley Mariners aren't going to win. They got the good pitching. They have one hell of a rotation for going into the playoffs. Also, the Mariners are going to get swept. Scott Lumley, do you have an estimate on price for Metamaterial MMTLP goes private? I think Metamaterial will have a big boon when folks cash out of MMTLP, because I think a lot of them are going to directly turn that into Metamaterial buys, because they know it also means that Metamaterial is making a fortune off of the sale as well. I'm talking billions, man. So the minute they announce that, hey, we just made $1 billion off the sale of this oil land, the price is going to go. And I don't know for how long it will go that way. It'll be a short thing. Maybe they'll do a special dividend or something to kind of like juice everything, because they're shorted too. And they've been shorted down to 69 cents or whatever they are today. I think they've been as low as 60 cents in the last week. And they've gotten threat of delistment. So they need to bump their price above $1 or else the Nasdaq's going to go to the OTC with you. So they, I think this S-1 is a big deal for them as well. Okay. Mark Sloan, Houston, do you think the GME MOASS is going to happen in the next 2 weeks? I'm going hunting moose north of Nipigon, Ontario. There is no cell service, so I won't be able to check or sell. No, unless something weird happens macroeconomically from one of these banks. I do think they're going to have a little OPEC run and this next week. So, it'll get a little green and then it'll probably drop back down again until the next cycle. The next cycle, end of November, beginning of September, beginning of December, I think is around the time we could hear about one of these banks going under if it doesn't happen sooner. And that could trigger all sorts of weird things. The entire market will nosedive. Weird little shorts will pop off because there'll be margin calls and, certain banks won't be able to cover things. They'll need the government stepping in and it's going to be a mess. And I think some of the meeting that happened today was probably like, everything's going to be a mess. What do we do? And all these heads of the different Fed bureaus, Fed branches are like, well, traditionally we just print money and do this stuff and we cut interest rates. But right now we need to make sure we don't print money and cut interest rates so that we get, inflation down. But if people are starving and dying and banks are going under, we're going to have no choice. So they're figuring something out there. And again, we got $2 trillion in reverse repos happening every night. So there is cash if it's needed. But right now, their whole reverse repo thing is keeping cash out of the market. But the crazy interest rates means that these banks are making like 5% in interest on participating in the reverse repo market. So money's ending up in the banks anyway. Fubo is the real deal? Okay. Resetting chat. Dang it. Okay, where was I? I was at 10 p.m. something. I was before Oat Milk Man. I was before... Crap. Where was I? I lost where I was. Oh, there's the Fubo one. Okay. Germany makes the best chocolate, says Meow Meow. I don't know. I can't remember if is Ritter chocolate German or is that Austrian? I've had Ritter chocolate. It's pretty decent. I've had just boatloads of Swiss chocolate and Belgian chocolate. Belgian chocolate's more milk chocolate. I'm more of a dark chocolate dude than a milk chocolate guy. Who's Russell Stover? Where's Russell Stover made? Russell Stover. Give me your Wikipedia, Russell Stover. Are you American? It's American. Okay. Russell Stover was an American chemist. So that's not German. I don't know what a German chocolate company is. German chocolate brands. There we go. Ritter. Ritter is German. I've had decent Ritter chocolate. Milka, Mosseroth, Merci, Schogaton, and Niederegger. I don't know if I've had any of those other ones. I've had Ritter. They're okay. Esco, General on. Houston, love the show. Thank you for all you do. It helps me wait for MOASS. That's all we're doing. We're just here at 11:20 at night, Pacific time, twiddling our thumbs, waiting for people who can screw up the entire economy to screw up the entire economy and trip and fall into us making a whole bunch of ka-chings off of that. Oh, people are putting the time of their chats in there. Thank you. Now I figured out how to toggle on the time of chats again. I wonder if the website updated or something. Yeah, okay. Yeah, just me, Belgian whale. No, meow meow. That's Belgian. Try Côte d'Or or Calabo. I don't know if I had either of those. I can't remember the Belgian brands I've had before. It's been a while. I'll just, you know what? There's a P.O. box address down there. By all means, send me whatever chocolate from whatever country you think has the best chocolate, and I will judge it, and we will get a definitive answer. So send me your best chocolate to that P.O. box, and I'll judge away. I do have some Swiss chocolate here still that I can munch on, but by all means, national pride is at stake. So I will be the impartial juror of all the chocolates you want to send me, and I will determine definitively which nation has the best chocolate. So, that's a sacrifice I am willing to make. Is that? So, by all means, make sure that I am the true arbiter as to who makes the best chocolate. Okay. Daphne, I think we packed a Nintendo 64 when we moved here. I'm going to ask my daughter to break it out so we can play some Mario Brothers as my speed. Yeah, man. I a few years ago was really bored. It was really, really crappy ski season in Seattle area. Like, none of the mountains were open because nothing snowed. And it was just drought. And I took apart all of my old Nintendos and I digitized them so they all have HDMI. So all of my old Nintendos are HDMI to the TV now. And then I never played them. I spent like a month soldering things, getting all the stuff ready, and then I played like 4 games and then didn't touch them again. Because I don't have, like, it's fun to play Mario Kart with other people, but no one's ever over here. And, my roommate wants to play PS5, and I don't really give a crap about the new games, and I don't like playing the new games on consoles anyway. I'd rather play on my keyboard. Mark Sloan, sorry about your Mariners. Go Jays. The Mariners are going to win, guys. That's okay. They got the pitching order set pretty well, and next year, DePoto can go into the winter meetings. He can start gobbling up hitters, and we can get a solid batting order going. Okay. Miss Missy, I play fantasy baseball in a league of 12, only girl, and this year our 5th in, finally finished in the money. 3rd thanks to Seattle fans and Robbie Ray and his 12 wins. Ever play Houston? You seem like a stat guy. I have not played fantasy baseball, mainly because there's so many games. Like fantasy football, I've done a couple of times, but there's only Sunday, worry about Sunday, done. But there's so many games, and there's so many, I've just never tackled it. It just seems like a lot more time consuming than I've ever had to deal with before. Striking Viking. Houston, it seems the financial markets have become completely detached from the real economy. Can we ever get back to true price discovery? Ooh. I mean, when it crashes, it will get there in a hurry. Now, how it will truly rebuild from there, I think, will depend upon what rules and laws are enacted post-collapse that not just the SEC does, but that Congress does. The U.S. Congress really needs to step up their game and explicitly make certain things crimes the DOJ can investigate. And not just rules the SEC can impose and then be like, I'm going to fine you or whatever. Chief among them is we need to curb corporate stock buybacks. Corporate stock buybacks drain companies of research and development money that needs to go back into investing in their employees and investing in their companies. Famous example was recently when we had the baby formula shortage. That company did like $5 billion in stock buybacks and did no maintenance on their facility and managed to contaminate a whole bunch of baby formula and had to shut down. If they had just taken scraps of that $5 billion they spent on stock buybacks to improve their canning and bottling facility, they never would have had that shutdown. We never would have had that whole tragedy of, possibly starving a whole bunch of newborns. And one reason why they do corporate stock there's a couple reasons, but one of the main reasons they do corporate stock buybacks is to battle short hedge funds. Short hedge funds will dump shares in the market to get the price to go down, and the corporation has to either take out loans or use profit to buy back stock to keep the price high. And why have to buy stock to keep the price high? Because they hire executives who have certain triggers in their contracts. If the stock hits this price, they get a bonus. If the stock drops to this price, they get fired. And so the board and the C-level executives are definitely inclined to do a corporate stock buyback, even if it's at the detriment of the long-term feasibility of the company. We got announcements of, Microsoft doing a $60 billion stock buyback, or, some company doing a $100 billion stock buyback. That's money that should be reinvested into the company, reinvested into the stockholders through dividends and whatnot. And because they're battling these short sellers. So, goes back to, what's the original 5 I had? No naked short selling of any kind, no payment for order flow, no high frequency trading, slow down the trading so that if you buy a stock, you can't immediately a nanosecond later sell it again. You have to hold on to it for like 5 minutes. That's it. Hold on for 5 minutes. There's a clock. Once the 5 minutes go up, then you can sell. What were the other ones? No dark pools. That was number 4. And number 5. Oh crap! What was number 5, monkey? I should write this thing down. It'll come to me. You guys will remind me. So the 4 big ones. Now we'll just get to number 5 in there. What was number 5? Shit. Oh, swaps. Eliminating the ability to do these debt swaps, at least in the way that they are. That was number 5. Yeah. Swaps. Because swaps are just passing the buck on and resetting those FTDs. Like if you're going to do swaps, the FTDs go with it. The clock goes with it. So you trade your swap with somebody, you trade your debt with somebody, and you've got 5 days left on the FTD. Those 5 days are what trade also. So they still that group will have to buy those stocks in 5 days. So being able to reset via those swaps, no go. Plus, if we got FTDs anyway, we just eliminate FTDs because we'll have T+0, and you can't sell anything you don't have. So if you sell something you don't have, you just go to prison and pay a fine that's so exorbitant that the company can no longer exist. The fund. That's what I say. Second shift, SQQQ shares hit $520,000 during the 2008-2009 crisis. It's inverse to market. I've had a lot of shares since last summer. Probably a good thing to buy right now. What's SQQQ at right now? SQQQ. It's at $51 right now. So bottomed out at 50. What have you been for the last year? Had a true bottom at 33 earlier this year. Max. Holy shit. Yeah. So $488,000 was their highest close. The intraday was 500 and whatever thousand. That was 2010. All right. Inverse, man. Well, it's interesting. If you zoom in on 2020, right? We got one little spike in 2020 that went up to 733 from 400 and something, and then it's been dip ever since. So basically, this is something that can only truly spike when there's an absolute crisis. Government shutdown, leading to the giant tax cuts that Trump did, spiked to 2,000 from 1,000. So if you've had all summer, it's gone up a little bit, but it's probably a decent thing to be in. What are calls on that? Ooh. Quickest way is through the yield app to look at the call prices than to even look at the options chain right now. So go there, click that. SQQQ. Trade options. So if I go for yearlies, looking at March, $1,300 for in the money now. Which, I mean, if something's going to go to $1,000, shouldn't matter. The highest they have for March is $85 call. The highest they have for the yearlies in January is $100 call. So if you look at something that's going to go $100,000, it doesn't matter if you've got a $50 call or a $100 call, right? You're still looking at like $1 million per. No, it'd be 10 million. Shit. It's 10,000 per thousand. You're 100,000. Yeah, 10 million bucks. So if you bought calls for like a call for SQQQ and the economy collapses to absolutely abysmal levels and it shoots up to like hundreds of thousands of dollars, it goes to $100,000, then that's $10 million. Cool. That works for me. I'd like it. Okay. All right, second shift. You got me paying attention. On BW Brands, the second shift, it's ETF. They start huge and dwindle to pennies over time. Oh, well. I guess that might be also the case. Miss Missy Houston. We call our dog Snorfy when he first sneezes. Peanut's not the only one. The best, like she does like the thing. The best was the day I got her. We went to PetSmart because it's right by the adoption place. Like, oh, we should get you like a leash and a collar and toys and all those things. So we went to PetSmart, and she's just a bouncy 10-month-old puppy who's never interacted with human beings or other dogs or anything. She's just a complete spaz. And I don't know what kind of toys I get her. So I get her a stuffed animal, I get her a ball, I get her like a silicone bone, I get her this knotted rope. It's a blue and orange knotted rope. It's like thick and it's got big knots on the end and like little frilly bits. And she is a destructor. She absolutely just eviscerated the stuffed animal. The rope, she managed in just a couple of hours to de-thread the thing. So each strand of the rope was in just microfiber condition. The rope was just this pile of threads. That was it. She just de-threaded the whole thing. So I threw the thing away. And 3 years later, she's in the backyard. She all of a sudden, and this orange strand goes doink out of her nose. So for 3 years, in her sinuses, she'd had part of this rope I had gotten her the first day that I had her. And she finally just snorfed it out of her face. It's almost as incredible as my friend who went to her friend's house, and the black lab was doing the boot scoot across the porch. And she's like, oh, it's a dingleberry. And she put her foot on it. And then out came a 55-gallon trash bag as the dog took off. Can you imagine that kind of relief? Oh. Dogs, man. Freaks, all of them. Owen Saunders, morning, pal. If we expect MMTLP to raise to 60, can we expect Metamaterial to raise to 20 at the same time? Love your show. I'm not sure what kind of delay there will be between MMTLP rising and Metamaterial rising. There might be a jump as people reinvest their winnings, but it might not be a big jump until Metamaterial announces whatever cash they get from the windfall of the sales. So that might be the big jump, is when that happens. Green Eye Banded Elixir. Houston, I brought up the housing short ETFs on Monday. I did a little digging. They seemingly reset often, so they'll never get to the 2009 peak, but possibly the COVID spike is more likely 5 to 10 times. Noted. All right. So 1,000% on the stock, which can lead to 10,000% on an option. Not too shabby. Dragon, North Korea fired ballistic missile. Houston, how change relationship USA with North Korea? North Korea is the relationship. There'll be no relationship with North Korea until, the Kims are no longer in power in North Korea. Kim Jong-un has apparently been really sick with COVID and flirting with his deathbed recently. And he's had some illnesses in the past. He's not a very healthy dude. It seems like he probably just eats straight butter for a living. And his sister apparently is just evil. And I don't know what type of leader she's going to be, but she's been tapped to take over if Kim Jong-un cannot do it anymore or he dies, which, dude's 35 years old and he might die of a heart attack any day now. So I don't know what type of leader she'll be. I assume another evil totalitarian dictator, because that's what they're doing. And yeah. Daphne, testing. 1, 2, 3. Well, thank you, Daphne. Thank you for the test. Walt Chavaria, Houston, somebody is shorting you. I can't super chat you. You can't. I don't know how to fix that at all. I don't know, man. Check bounce? What's going on? Piano student Semper, why don't you like Elon Musk? Because Elon is a flim-flam man. I don't trust him. He's kind of racist. He's homophobic and transphobic. He treats his employees really poorly. He makes his entire living off of essentially the United States government giving him bailouts and getting tax breaks, and then claims he did it all himself. He bought Tesla and made the founders of Tesla sign an agreement that says they won't tell everyone that the founders of Tesla, that Elon's the founder of Tesla. He created the Hyperloop entirely to destroy public transportation as a carrot dangling in front of people they can never reach. So whenever anyone brings up anything about buses or improving subway systems or light rail or streetcars, Elon says, oh, but Hyperloop will do that in 1/50th the time. And then turns out Hyperloop isn't actually going to be a Hyperloop. It's just a tunnel to drive a car in that has no egress or fire suppression. And you've got giant batteries that can explode and burn really hot for 20 hours. I don't like him. He's totally playing into the hands of these far-right weirdos. I mean, Peter Thiel was his business partner at PayPal, and Peter Thiel is a Bond villain. And that guy is probably the most dangerous billionaire on the entire planet. He is playing Elon like a fiddle. And Elon's just going with it, man. He's like, oh, Peter Thiel told me to do this thing. And Peter Thiel is a straight-up Bond villain who will take all the information he has on you and he will sell it to the Russians in a heartbeat. Do not trust that guy. Okay. Drew Soul, who goes bankrupt first, Evergrande or Credit Suisse? Ooh. I would argue that Evergrande already is bankrupt. It's just everybody has blinders on. They're like, la, 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 la. They're ignoring it because they're losing properties. They've got buildings seized from them. They have no money. They can't pay their employees. I would argue that they already are bankrupt. It's just that no one's like, you're bankrupt. Just admit it. So, yeah. Michael O'Hara, Houston, the Powerball, Mega Millions Lotto are both over $300 million. Do you take a chance and put your money into more MMTLP? When it gets to a certain level, I go out and I spend $2 and I get a ticket, because why not? Actually, I spend $4 because you buy one ticket, the odds are 175 million. You buy a second ticket, those odds cut in half, and all of a sudden are 1 in 87.5 million. So you know, the best odds gain you can make is with a second ticket. So I'll spend $4 on a ticket, two tickets. So, but I usually wait till it's like $1 billion before I go and buy, because, you know, $300 million, that's not worth it. I wait for $1 billion. That's what I wait for. Piano student Semper, don't you think Tesla is doing the most out of anyone to combat climate change? No, they are not. No, it takes right now for a new electric vehicle. It takes more carbon to produce that new electric vehicle than just going out and buying a used car. You could drive that used car for like 30 years before you use as much carbon as it took to just build that new electric vehicle. The battery tech definitely needs to get better. I'm all about, you know, if you're driving that car in some place like British Columbia or Seattle, where all of electricity comes from hydropower, cool. You did a great job. If you are driving an electric car in West Virginia, where all of your power comes from coal-fired plants, you're actually getting worse gas mileage, as according to amount of carbon get put in the air, than you would if you just bought like a smart car that gets 50, 60 miles to the gallon. So, not necessarily. And the mining practices that Elon has undertaken to get the material he needs to build the batteries for his cars are also pretty evil. I mean, he literally had the government of Bolivia overthrown so he can have access to lithium in their desert. You know, I want solid state batteries to take off so quickly. I want to come on, man. Get those solid-state batteries going, because it will eliminate the need for lithium, eliminate the need for cobalt. We'll be able to use carbon and aluminum, and that's stuff we got plenty of. And we'll have 10 times energy load per kilogram. And we'll have electric cars that can go 3,000 miles on a single charge. And a single charge will take a minute to charge a car. So we need to get these solid-state batteries going. We need to stop relying on lithium batteries for all this stuff. Plus, there's no fire hazard from the solid-state batteries. Okay. And there's BW Brand. Drew Evergrande is bankrupt. Just because someone didn't announce it doesn't change the fact. That's exactly what I was saying. So glad. Great minds think alike there, BTW. Joshua GME, I was on a space call earlier today with Tara and others. They were talking about having a guy that can buy into AMC and then vote him to replace Adam Aaron. They're not happy. Yeah. I mean, I've been talking about that since June of last year. It's been 15 months. I've been saying that exact thing, and everyone's like, how dare you? Well, I bet a lot of the same people were really pissed at me when I was saying that we need to put in names for board members before the yearly meeting, and they were so mad at me. Man, you guys were in the chat. A lot of you were in the chat watching people just be so pissed off at me for talking about that. And now it's like mainstream with all of them. So, you know, there you have it. Okay, Jay King's in from New York. Hello. Oh, it's a Firewatch cabin. Most isolated cabin in America. That's the one you're sending me to? I didn't see the Firewatch cabin on that mountain. Bummer, man. There's a couple of cabins, Firewatch cabins people I know have stayed in. Drew Saul. It's got somewhere in the west in the desert, looks like. Oops, not that one. I want that. That's the one I want. So this says a Firewatch cabin on here. That's what you're saying? So I'll zoom in real quick and see what the Firewatch cabin is. I don't see a cabin there. Is there a cabin on top? Oh, up here, maybe. Oh, there's Mount Pilchuck. Okay. Mount Pilchuck. Is there a Firewatch cabin somewhere on top of the mountain that I'm not seeing? There used to be a ski resort on Mount Pilchuck. But it's pretty low mountain. The peak's only not even 5,000 feet, so they no longer get snow. But there was a ski resort somewhere up here. Anyway. Bam. Bam. Where are you taking me? Where are we going, Drew? Going to, where, Malibu? Where are we? We're on a beach. Some big sandy cliffs. Got some, where are we? Torrey Pines? Oh, San Diego. Black's Beach. Oh, crap. I was lifeguard in this beach for a summer. I should recognize that. Yeah. I was a lifeguard here for, well, not whole summer, part of a summer. I made one rescue. There's a bunch of naked people. They'll come down here. And nudist beach. And I had to rescue a very fat naked man in the riptide out here. You can see the riptide. There's a riptide right there. That's a riptide right there, you can see. So yeah, I was in one of these lifeguard towers. It's normally naked people and surfers because the parking lots are really far away. And to get to some of the breaks, you have to hike quite a ways. So, yeah, I was 18 working as a lifeguard in one of these lifeguard towers. And then there's the glide port. So you got the Torrey Pines Golf Course, which is one of the famous golf courses in the world. The PGA comes and does tours here. And then there's the glide port. People like jump off with a parasails or kites or whatever, and they fly around and play in the wind. So it's a pretty cool place to be. You just also have naked people you got to watch out for on the beach. So, yeah, the only rescue, because they put the young, stupid idiots like me on here because it's pretty much pro surfers and then every once in a while a naked person. And then if you go south of La Jolla, you go to like Mission Beach or Pacific Beach, where there's just thousands of people packing the beach and you're making a rescue an hour. They don't want the young and inexperienced people to worry about that. So I got that. It's taking me back there, Drew. My house. Oh shit, 3511. Is that what it was? Yeah. So my house in San Diego, 3511 Oceanfront Walk. I think that was the address. Yeah, this guy right here. This little place. So the second story of this house, there's a duplex, one below and one up top. I live in the second floor of this place with a couple of Swedish sisters, and our house. Yes, the place. So I lived up here, and this house was used in the final season of Veronica Mars, the one that came out a couple years ago on Hulu. Her house was my house, so like. It popped on. I was like, that living room looks really familiar. And then they did the outside shots. And like, that's my house. That's where I lived. So yeah, this is where I was living in San Diego. And it was great. The great thing about being 18, living on the beach in San Diego, is that everybody is just ridiculously attractive. And surfing was right there. I don't know what it's like now, but in the summertime, this place was $5,000 a week to rent. But from Labor Day to Memorial Day during the off season, they'd rent it to college kids for super cheap. And I think our rent on this place was like $1,000, $900 for us to live there. The two sisters shared a room, and I had sort of like the living room was where I lived. And man, it was fun. And I got hit by a car and left for dead and had to leave San Diego. And that part wasn't so much fun. But it's definitely a lot of bros out today. Look at that. Got brosifs here, got brosifs there, got some brosifs over there. Looks like maybe 2-foot surf out there. Not too big today. But great place. If you are a young person looking to go somewhere for school, going to UC San Diego, living on the beach in San Diego is not such a bad idea. I highly recommend it. Problem is, I think there probably all Airbnbs now that rent out year round, and this costs a fortune, so you can't do the discount beach living like I was doing. Lofta, Houston, what do you know about Lithuania? Lithuanians love their basketball. There you go. That's what I know about Lithuania. I need to do a grand Baltic tour one of these days. My sister lived in Latvia for a while, which is not Lithuania, but that's as close as anyone in my family, I think, has been to Lithuania. Okay. Lunar Swine's my favorite shirt. This is one of my favorite shirts too. I love this shirt. It's a good shirt. It's got, it's got patterns all the way down, man. Patterns everywhere. Okay. All right, so I'm still an hour behind the chat, but look here, we can scoot along. Jason Blackwell, Houston, what concert costs 45 cents? 50 Cent featuring Nickelback. Okay. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. Well, this gets me ahead because you guys are having lots of conversations here, so I could pass the conversation. Joshua G. Me, I once had high hopes for Gary Gensler. That should tell you when I started trading. Gary talked a good game, and then I think got his arm twisted by the powers that be. And instead of, finding evil actors, I mean, we're discovering that Barclays sold a whole bunch of naked. That who was it? UBS stole their clients' shares to sell or to provide for short hedge funds when they weren't supposed to. And they're getting like slaps on the wrist. Kim Kardashian gets paid to do an ad on her Instagram for crypto, and she put in the description, ad. This is an ad. I'm being paid for this. And Gary Gensler decides to fine her 6 times what she earned on the ad. Like, she didn't break the rule. She told everyone that it was an ad. Gary Gensler wanted her to put on there how much she got paid specifically. That's bullshit. You don't have to put how much you got paid specifically to the public in the ad. You just have to tell them it's a paid ad. Done. Who cares how much you got paid? But Matt Damon apparently can do ads for he did ones for Crypto.com, or was it for Coinbase? I think it was Crypto. And he didn't have to tell them how much he got paid because Coinbase is a general company. Okay, dude. Like, it's all, their graphs are all the same. The charts are the same for every crypto coin. Whatever the market does for crypto, Bitcoin and BNX and whatever, they all do the same thing. They have the same exact charts every single solitary day. But why are you going to fine, Kim Kardashian $1.3 million for making $250,000 for doing an ad, and then fine Barclays $300 million for making 17 billion naked selling shares? Like, they're paying 2%. 1/50th of what they made is what they're paying in their fine. 600% of what Kim Kardashian paid, she's paying in her fine. That just seems completely bogus to me. Fine Barclays 600% of what they made off of naked short selling, man. Like, what is this crap? Or fine Kim Kardashian 1/50th of what she made doing one Instagram post for some crappy Bitcoin or the Exo coin or whatever the crap it was she did. Like, who? It's not. There needs to be some parity in this, man. Like, I'm all for finding everybody just a shitload. Whenever they're bad actors, find them 600% of whatever it is that they did to be a bad actor. Don't do the slap on the wrist crap for Barclays and then hammer Kim Kardashian for being honest and telling her followers that she's being paid to promote this thing. Just silly. It's silly, and it's completely just a misuse of investigatory time. Martha Stewart makes $200,000 on an insider trade. She goes to prison. Congress makes billions of dollars a year insider trading, and nothing happens to them. It's crap. Yeah. Okay. Daphne, who's the richest woman in the world? And someone's below says Melinda Gates. Yeah. Bezos' wife was the richest woman. Then she donated like 90% of what she got to charity. So I think she's still a billionaire, but she's not worth like the $40 billion she would have been. Yeah, interesting. Scott Pollan, Vatican pulls their money from the banking system to the IOR, and Credit Suisse collapses within 3 days. Can't make this stuff up. Credit Suisse also lost, I guess, 2 gigantic private banking clients in Hong Kong as well. They didn't say how much it was, but it was enough of a news article to say, like, basically 2 billionaires took all their money out of Credit Suisse in Hong Kong, out of the private banking system they have. So they might be running into some asset problems if that's what's happening. I don't know. Maybe everyone in Switzerland's going, you know what? I'm going to take all my money out of here and I'm going to put it into my Canon Bank. I don't trust you guys. And there might be a run on the bank at Credit Suisse with all this bad news going on. Hey, chat XYZ hot boys and girls joined the chat today. Look at that. All right. Where was I? I was scrolling. I went past. Sorry, the chat loves to reset itself. All right, it's the Bezos' wife thing. There we go. Okay. People talking about the Giving Pledge, about millionaires and billionaires vowing to dissolve their wealth and philanthropy. So Miss Missy's talking about that before they die. There's quite a few of them. The Patagonia guy just did it. He just jettisoned everything. So they're out there. You hear the boys chanting, this is OPEX, OPEX. BW brand not had good chocolate since 1994. I'm sorry. I've had some great chocolate since then. Jory, do you think the dollar will crash soon? No. I think the dollar is, if people are dealing in currency, that's where they're going as a safe haven at the moment. They're jumping into the dollar. So I think the US dollar is stronger than other currencies at the moment for that particular reason. Drew Saul going to call Fidelity tomorrow, see if I can buy MMTLP. No, I'm FOMOing if I can't get more than Jimmy. Yeah. Expect 40 minutes on that. Hey, you may have to carve out a serious chunk of time on that sucker. Miss Missy, Russell Stover equals grandma chocolate. It generally is. The Russell Stover's dark chocolate mint bar is, at least it was a few years ago. I haven't found one since. But it was one of the best chocolate mint bars I ever had in my life. I'm okay with Jamie going to 100 trillion market cap. Me too. That would be fantastic. I would love that. Michael Ahero, Houston DC new Seattle Kraken hockey team mascot. What do you think of it? I don't know what it is. It's like a troll or something? I don't understand. Like your team's the Kraken. Why don't you have some sort of squid monster like Cthulhu as your mascot? I don't know what the Kraken are thinking, developing the world's stupidest looking Narnia creature. I don't know. It's like a if Sesame Street were to make an orc, that's what it looks like. Kronk, what are your thoughts on GTI as a squeeze play in the OTC with no halts, options, or dark pools? It's squeezing right now. It went from 30 cents to $6 or whatever it's at right now. It is squeezing. It is an active squeezing. So GTII 510. So it dropped a bit. It was at $6 at one point. Yeah, $6.84. It's in the process of squeezing at the moment. It's dropping a little bit. So my guess is that whatever buying was forced to occur may be dwindling. What's their volume at right now? Their volume was give me that volume. Volume. Tell me all your volume. Day range, market cap. blah, 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 blah. Average volume, 2.29 million. Now, it was 800,000. And then it did like 8 million in trades on Monday, I think it was. So, yeah. I mean, it peaked at $6 today and then went back down to $5 after having a low of around $4. I think it's in the middle of a squeeze right now. I don't know if it's a long-lasting squeeze or if something that they're going to sell naked and get their way out of it eventually, but yeah. If it's not a giant tentacle, who cares? Stephen Marr, Houston, do you have any favorite moments in history? Oh, it's like... Favorite moments in history. I mean, we're talking like impactful moments, like profound moments, such as, freeing the slaves. Sure, like that's fantastic. Hitler shooting himself, great. 5 stars, would do again. Or just like weird things in history, like, King George getting syphilis, or Blackbeard injecting his wiener with mercury to cure syphilis. Like those things, fascinating. The Curies basically just poisoning themselves with radiation. Like, you had to learn things the hard way. So, I like the type of history that snowballs. And I talked about this like a year ago about how Dwight Eisenhower had his pros and cons. One of his pros was that, he thought about the military-industrial complex and he thought about national infrastructure. Great. He was a terrible diplomatic president. He really did not know how to do soft diplomacy in any way, shape, or form, and lost out as a result, or cost America a lot of problems as a result of it. It's like one of the things that I've talked about is the 1956 World Economic Exposition, the World's Fair in Kabul, Afghanistan. And Buckminster Fuller was hired to build the exhibit for the United States. So he built this beautiful aluminum geodesic dome to house the U.S. exhibit. And it just, everyone's like, oh, this thing's incredible. This is amazing. It's one of the most beautiful structures ever built. And the king of Afghanistan was like, hey, Eisenhower, I really like this thing. Can I keep it? And Eisenhower's like, fuck you, no. And he ordered it dismantled, and they took it to like on the road to like Paraguay and other places, and then melted the whole thing down. And the Russians came in like, hey, king of Afghanistan, we can't build you a geodesic dome, but we'll build you a highway. And the king of Afghanistan was like, that sounds cool. I'll take a highway. And so the Russians built this giant highway that went north to south and then used it to invade them like 20 years later. So, if we had just given the king of Afghanistan a geodesic dome, the Russians never would have invaded. The Taliban never would have taken over. The World Trade Center would still be standing today. So, like, that type of snowball history, looking at, like, the dominoes of them all, is something that always fascinates me. Is that, like, Osama bin Laden, the entirety of Osama bin Laden was in Afghanistan was because Dwight Eisenhower couldn't give the king of Afghanistan a dome designed by Buckminster Fuller. It is just crazy, man. Just, that stuff blows my mind, looking at those little snowball things. Like, I remember the story. It's been told twice already. Yeah, I'll tell it again. I'll tell it a 4th time if I want to. BW brand. Okay, we're at midnight. Sorry if I miss your chats. I'm gonna scroll down, try to get some of the ones here at the end, and then call her a day. Dame Horatia. Houston, you weren't the only one wanting AI admin replaced or wanting people on the board. No one was interested in form filling out to join the board, and it wasn't a straightforward process as made out to be. That seems to be the problem as well. Yeah. 2-hour rant. It is a 2-hour rant. Every day it's a 2-hour rant. Okay. Marvin G. Houston for president. Hey, if you want to fund my campaign, I'll run. Why not? Phil Scrooge just woke up. Welcome, Phil. You're going to jump in here and piss me off? I don't know. All right. Okay. All right. Well, we're there. I think it's bedtime. Monkey's been out for the last hour and a half. So yeah. All right. It's 3 a.m. for you. It's nearly midnight for me. So East Coasters, Euro people have a great day. Australians have a great dinner. East Coasters, get some sleep because that's what you need. I'll see you Friday. I don't know if I'll do a daytime show or evening show on Friday. I have no idea what my week's looking like. I have no clue. But we've been doing a lot more night shows recently, and I want to get back to trying to do day shows, but I've got crap I got to get done with for the day. So anyway, I'll catch you guys later. See you Friday. Have a good one. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.